Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you could have first heard this episode 9 months ago if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that will get right on your ticks.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, this is it!
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Bow, bow, bow.
I'm Sam Nifty Delaney, so well.
Welcome along. It's another Melchester Odyssey. And we're looking at the issue dated 6th of October, 1984, Roy of the Rovers. It's in my left hand, in case you're bothered about that kind of thing. Brilliant, brilliant cover, but we'll get to that in a moment. As usual, we'll play the guessing game, where across the top it says, sign please, Dundee United star. Tricky.
That's got to be Jim, what's his name? The one who managed Villa and Birmingham. Fucking hell, my mind's gone
Alex
blank.
McLeish.
Alex McLeish, yeah.
He was Aberdeen, though, wasn't he? Aberdeen.
Okay, fuck. Well, it's not him then, is it? I don't know. I remember Dundee United had a great team in the mid-80s because they won. Yeah, they won was it the Cup Winners' Cup or the UEFA Cup?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think who their stars were. Didn't they? Oh, it must have been later. They had and didn't they have Mixu Patalainen? I think that was much later.
The Aberdeen team were really memorable, but not so much the Dundee United one for some reason. Apologies, Dundee United fans. This is our ignorance we're displaying.
I'm sure there's a Dundee United player who was a manager and I've forgotten. But yeah, I've blanked. I can't think of anyone.
I'll give you a clue. He went on to play for Rangers and was a pretty integral part of the Rangers team that won lots of trophies.
Don't know. All the Rangers players I can think of were in that era were English.
And he's Scottish as well. Central defender.
But he didn't play in. It's not Richard Gough, is it?
It's Richard Gough.
Richard Gough.
I was just about to say he played for Spurs as well, which might have tipped the balance for you, but yeah, you got it.
Yeah, good player, Richard Gough, wasn't he?
Gough, yeah, 294 appearances for Rangers, 165 appearances for Dundee United between 1980 and 1986. Went on to the Kansas City Wizards at one point.
Oh, what a name!
Yeah, and then the San Jose Clash.
Fucking hell, named after the band.
And
also the Wizards were named after the band as well. All of those bands were named after UK sort of acts of the 70s. All the National Soccer League teams.
Yeah, there was of course the San Francisco Sex Pistols.
Yeah, and the Detroit Jam.
The Boston Buzzcocks. We could do this all day, but we're not going to. After he
San
played for
Antonio Slade. Sorry.
After he played for San Jose Clash and Kansas City Wizards, he went to Everton. So,
fucking hell.
Reunited with Walter Smith at Everton. All right, there you go. That's that bit out of the way. That's Richard Gough there. And his tangerine.
Lovely stuff.
Great kit, that. Adidas.
I mean, Dundee United's kit. Yeah. They fuck it. That must have been.
V-neck with the Adidas stripes on the shoulders. Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Black and orange.
Yeah.
They fucking marched into Europe.
Yeah.
Bold as brass in a kit like that. Going, hey, that's right. We're from Dundee United. No, we're not Dundee. Those are the other cunts. We're Dundee United.
I'm trying to see.
I had a great chat when I was in Scotland at the weekend. I encountered Andy, the politest and kindest car hire people I've ever encountered. You know, good. My experience of car hire people has been generally negative over the years.
You've had a few run-ins, let's be fair. Yeah.
Especially, not to be xenophobic, but especially abroad on the continent, right? I can't think of many bad experiences in the UK, but I can't think of any actively good ones. But these ones at Glasgow Airport were actively good. They were nice people, and I can imagine having been become friends, made social connections with them had I been staying in Glasgow for any longer. In actual fact, I was just passing through very briefly on the way there and on the way back, right? So just a brief time at pick-up, in briefer time drop-off. But their, what would you call it? Their holding bay was like quite far away from the airport.
Okay.
Like they sent a van and you had to drive quite a long way away, right, to a sort of half a daily style.
You had to drive the van, or you were driven in the van?
No, I was driven in the van.
That's better.
On the way back, I'd already had a good time with the guy I met on the way
and drive
there.
it.
Right, and that was great. And so on the way back, I was quite looking forward to seeing him again. But when I got there, he was busy with another customer. So I was a bit disappointed because I was looking forward to another chat with him, right?
Oh, yeah.
But his mate came out instead and he drove me back in the van to the airport. And during this maybe 8-minute drive, we had a wonderful chat. And I can't remember how we got onto the subject, but oh yeah, that was it. He was saying, you know, where are you flying? And I've got to say, I've got to admit, and I'm sure it's the same for him, he had a very Glaswegian accent, and I was only half keeping up with what he was saying.
Right.
Right. He might have felt the same about me, you know. But I wanted to keep up because I could tell. It was one of those ones where I wasn't sure what he was saying, but I knew I liked it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From what I could gather from what he was saying, I was like, I like this. I want to try and engage in this.
Did you find that your face was kind of straining as you crated towards him?
Yeah. I kept going, sorry, mate, what? What? Do what? Like that, and putting my ear in. So he might have understood what the situation was. It didn't matter. I was in the back of the van, he was in the front, right? So he goes, London, you'll be coming down just as soon as you got up. And I said, well, I've very lucky.
I've looked at your dossier.
Yeah, I said I'm very lucky because as soon as I sit down on a plane, I said I am able to go to sleep immediately, right? And he went, yeah, and I went, yeah, I can fall asleep immediately as I sit down. As soon as I click the belt together, that's me gone. I said, and generally speaking, on a trip like this one, I won't wake up until I feel the wheels hit the runway at the other end. It'll be that little bump that wakes me.
It's useful, that.
Yeah. And he was like, hey, I wish I had that. That's very useful. And we had a little bit of a chat about that. And then we got on to talking about how he'd been on his holidays to Turkey. And he was one of those guys who was very passionate about his holiday destination. You ever been, pal? No, I've never been. Oh, you've got to go. You have got to go, right? And I'm like, oh, right, no, I would like to, which I would. You know, I wasn't humouring him. And he started to explain to me about this all-inclusive he went to, right, in Turkey on his holidays.
Nice.
And he told me, he went, the food was unbelievable. He said, and don't get me wrong, I've been to all-inclusives where it's absolute shite. You come out and it's all been kept in hot boxes all day under the lights, and the stuff that doesn't get finished at lunch they bring back out at dinner. You know the sort of place. I said, yeah. And he went, not this place. Fresh. You go up, you think they've run out. And they said, don't worry, we'll cook you something new, fresh. The only problem I had, I said, did you try any of the Turkish food? He was talking me through. He was a big bloke, and he was literally at one point just listing all the foods he'd had when he was there, right? So he's like, omelette, steak, lasagna, Chinese, right? All of this, and I'm like, yeah, fucking great, mate. And then he's going, only problem that I had there, I had one situation. Well, I said, you try and take shit? He went, I did my best. I tried to, in the evenings, try a little bit of the local food. But I ordered something Turkish, but I thought I'll have it with chips to offset it, you know. And I went, fair enough, yeah, like, because anything with chips kind of can be palatable. It's
if
less
you get
of a
an
gamble.
all-inclusive, it's irresistible to not get some chips.
With everything, yeah.
Yeah, whatever you
And
get,
he
you've
went,
got to have your chips on there.
and you know what they said to me? They said, no, sorry. Chips are for kids only. I went,
What?
You are fucking joking. He went, that's what they said. And he was he looked at me in the mirror and I was dead serious. I was like, you're fucking joking me, mate. And he was like, I'm not joking. That's what they said. And I said, So what did you do? He goes, well, I was very angry. And I said, I'm not surprised. But I was with the family. I wanted to keep a lid on it. I didn't want to make a scene. So I says to my lad, I says, you go up there and you get 2 portions of chips,
You
boy.
get the chips, son.
And he's going, I don't want 2 portions of chips. I said,
Yeah, dude.
one of them's for me, you daft wee bastard. And that's how we had to carry on for the rest of the holiday. But, you know, you do what you have to do. And
Yeah,
I was
to
like,
survive.
well, that's smart, mate. But I've never heard of anything so weird in my
That's
life
insane.
before. And what I thought to myself, having had this conversation, see, he was about my age, this bloke, right? And I thought, they used to say, I remember reading that book, Fever Pitch, that daft book by that gooner, right, when it came out years ago. Silly
Hornsby.
fucking, silly gooner book. I like football. Do you like football? I like the Arsenal.
I just called him Nick Hornsby there, Sam, but I do know that it's Nick Hornby. Lampard's in advance.
And but I remember him saying, what's good about being into football, like I am, is that whenever you don't have a conversation to have, if you're making small talk, if you see another man, you can always say, oh, do you like football? Then he almost always says yes, and then you can talk about football, and that's what's great. It's like a male language, right? And I'm thinking, oh yeah, that right, is it? You fucking tart. Right. Anyway, what I thought in this van, right, was that's bollocks, right? What you can, if you're a man in your 40s or 50s or maybe older, I don't know, and you're a father in particular, and you meet another man, same generation, there's always 2 topics you can talk about, right? One is sleeping and the other one is food, right?
I'm going to say
You can
specifically chips.
You can just talk about sleeping and food. Like, we bonded, we had this journey, it was about 8 minutes, like I say. We had bonded. Because we had bonded. I've been telling him about how I could sleep, right, on a plane, dead easy, and he loved that. He was really engaged in that. And then he was telling me about all the food he got at an all-inclusive. And those are the 2 things that we're always... Like, I saw that thing recently, like, men are always thinking about the Roman Empire. Did you see that?
No.
Well, it's been going around on TikTok. It's been trending. Right, I can't remember whether it's based on a bit of research, but apparently
What are we
there's this
doing
thing
with the
going
Roman
around.
Empire? What?
All men think of the Roman Empire something like at least once a day. That's what it said, right?
Fuck off.
Yeah, and my daughter asked me, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? And I was like, well, I do think about it sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Twice a year. Twice a year,
Yeah,
mate.
not regularly, you know.
Yeah.
But sleep and football every month, because you might meet a man once in a while who's not into football, right? Which is fine. They might not be sporty, or they might like rugby or something, right? But you can always talk to them about food and sleeping, because those are the 2 things that all middle-aged men are passionate about and interested in. And it created a very strong bond. So, it just occurred to me. I thought, fuck the Roman Empire and fuck football. It's food and sleep that really drives us to get up in the morning.
Getting onto logistics, you would not believe the amount of... I mean, you know that I've planned live tours that we've done.
Yeah.
Booked the venues and all that kind of thing. A lot of logistics involved.
Yeah,
Nothing
impeccably.
compares.
Yeah.
Nothing compares to the logistics I go to when I'm booking an all-inclusive holiday.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at so many different sources of reviews, namely of the food. If the food is shit
Gotta
on
be
an
the
all-inclusive, you're fucked.
Yeah, it's more important than anything else, yeah.
And I've pulled it off. There's only 2 places we've gone to with the kids all-inclusive, and we've gone more than once because they were so good.
Yeah.
We don't do all-inclusives anymore. They can't stand to share a room with me. That's fine. So now we have to go sort of like self-catering, but absolutely spot on, and it's all because of the food at the all-inclusive.
Good food, like really good food where like every meal you're like, fucking hell, I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For a week as well. You're doing 3 meals a day for 7 days, right?
And then the rest of the time we sit around the pool. Fucking bliss.
21 meals. If it's very good, it can make up for other things. Like a lot of all-inclusives I've been to, the rooms have been very basic.
Right.
I've never had a room that's crap, like dirty or smelly, but it's not lap of luxury. I don't give a fuck about that.
Be in the room.
A room's for sleeping in.
Yeah.
And as long as I've had a right good fucking feeding, right, and
sleep like a baby.
I've been round the pool all day, I'll sleep on the fucking floor if you want me to. In fact, that would be a good option for budget. If they go, right, for your absolute budget deal, you can sleep outside on a sunbed, right?
Yeah.
You don't even get a fucking room. I'd take it. I'd go. I wouldn't take the kids because it'd be difficult to police them, maybe. But I would go on my own if they gave an option. You still got access to the meals. Me and my kids at the all-inclusive this year spent a huge amount of time working out how you could access the all-inclusive without being a guest and just walk in for meals every day, because there was a beach, but the beach wasn't private, right? So if you were prepared to walk for quite a long way and swim across a little bit of water, you could then gain access through the gardens to the all-inclusive. Walking
adventure.
No one's checking you. This one didn't have wristbands. Some you go to have wristbands. You could walk into the canteen or whatever you call it, the buffet thing.
Yeah.
Eat a fucking slap up breakfast, lunch and dinner. No cunt's going to challenge you. And then you just go home, swim home at the end of the day.
Brilliant. People might be wondering the names of the places. I've been looking them up to confirm them. I don't know if they're still any good, but they were then. Salou in Spain, the Golden Port. Brilliant.
I'll look that up. Yeah.
The island of Kos, Acti Beach Club. There you go. And I'm very tempted
the Golden
to go
Port
back. The Golden Port in Salou.
Is that in Mallorca? No,
Salou's
that's
in Spain, just south of Barcelona. 4-star hotel, 4.4 stars on the Google reviews.
it's a 2E. They're 2E. Usually have good places.
Very tempted to actually go back on a solo trip without the freaking kids.
I've often thought an all-inclusive on your Jack Jones.
Yeah,
that is living all right.
You'll get a lot of weird looks from people.
Don't matter. Don't go out. Go in term time.
Yeah.
If you go in holiday time, but I bet you if you go in term time, right, there'll be a lot of other people there on their own as well.
Probably. Yeah. Something to think about.
Yeah.
All right, where are we? Roy the Rovers. Shit. Yeah, we're supposed to be doing that. It's going to be another one of them where we don't actually get anything dealt with. All right, front cover. It is brilliant, this. It says, Bobby Robson, the England manager, was at Melchester Rovers' home match against Tynecastle to watch Roy and Jimmy Slade, but Jimmy failed to turn up. Roy made up for the youngster's absence with a cracking first-half performance, then Jimmy appeared at half-time. Look at the state of Jimmy Slade, Sam.
Hell yeah, I forgot about this.
I sent you this last week. I said I couldn't resist looking to see what he looked like, and I had to send it to you because you couldn't resist either. Look at this. No. His arm is in a sling. He's fucked. He's got the head bandage, Duncan Mackay style, wrapped around his forehead, around his bonce, to give it the full medical term, all the way around. And Roy just looks bewildered by what's happening. And Jimmy Slade says, Roy, it's not as bad as it looks. These are only minor injuries, a few cuts and sprains. That might be the fifth accent I've given to Jimmy Slade over the months and years. Blackie says, how did you get them, Jimmy? What happened? Roy interrupted sharply. And Roy says, Roy's face is darkened down one side, almost like the Phantom of the Opera wearing that mask, to suggest that he's speaking with a tone of doom.
He's angry.
Yeah. I can tell you what happened.
Very serious.
You've had a smash-up in that flashy car of yours, haven't you, Jimmy? Flashy car smash-up.
Jalapeño.
Jimmy's got himself a convertible Volkswagen Golf.
A local company
to
gave him
my mind,
it, didn't he?
Car of the 80s.
His agent set it up for him, his new agent.
Yeah. And he's rammed the cunt into a fucking wall by lots of things.
Well, I don't know. That's what Roy's imagining.
That's what Roy's imagining. Because on the cover there is a picture and it's done in grey in a sort of a thought bubble where Roy is picturing in quite some detail in his mind palace.
Yeah.
In Roy's mind palace, he has conjured a picture of fucking Jimmy colliding into a sort of a low brick wall.
A residential area as well.
One of those walls that are about waist high, aren't they?
Yeah. Good for sitting on.
Good sitting wall. And
Mid-level.
He's fucking ploughed the Golf into it so hard. He must have been going really fast because he's obliterated a portion of the wall, hasn't he? So Roy's really thought this through. Right, I reckon he was... What was that, a Golf? I reckon he could get that, even in a residential street, I reckon he could get that up to 65. right?
Yeah.
Then he wouldn't have been able to handle a tight bend, not at that speed. But if you think of it, colliding with a waist-high sitting wall at that sort of speed, the wall's going to come off fucking badly from that.
He's very lucky it is not a bridge wall or the exterior of a building like a factory.
Yeah,
Maybe
like
been in a factory car park doing donuts.
a parameter sort of security wall.
Yeah.
The type that you have to climb over if you're in a foot race. If you're in a foot chase with like a policeman in the Sweeney or something.
So yeah, that's what Roy's imagining. Over the page. As Jimmy Slade nodded glumly, Roy says, "Why on earth didn't you let us know? You could have telephoned at least. I didn't come round till I was in hospital. They wouldn't let me do anything till I'd been checked from head to foot. When they told me I was all right, apart from a few cuts and bruises, I came straight here." Roy, stupid little idiot.
That's pretty brutal. I mean, obviously, we put a lot of words into Roy's mouth, but these are actually the words of
actual words
of Barry Tomlinson, right, the writer, and that is as pretty as fucking abusive as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
stupid little idiot. It's really, really got to Roy that Jimmy is suddenly the centre of attention.
This comic generally sets a good example to the youngsters, but he's just Roy's lost his mind here. Stupid little idiot, you might have killed yourself. And then he goes on, "You're suspended as of now. It'll be a long time before you play for the Rovers again, my lad. Never mind about England." And Jimmy says, but Roy. But Roy's busy barging his way through the rest of his team. Heading back towards the tunnel, he says, "Well, what are you all staring at? Get out there, we've got a football match to finish. Let's go, lads."
Don't take it out on the rest of them.
Let's go, lads.
Duncan Mackay's quite into it, though, isn't he? I like this. I like conflict. I like tension. It stokes the fires within us. And some of these fucking English need it as well, let me tell you. They've got hearts the size of mice.
Mice with hearts the size of peas.
Have you seen a heart's? Have you seen a moose's heart? I fucking have. Several of them. I had a mouse problem in my home for a while, so I get my wee cat to catch them, but he never kills them. He renders them lame and toys with them until I get home. And then I smash the wee bastards over the head with a meat tenderizer.
Then I open them.
Then I dissect them. And I see their little hearts. One time I managed to open them up while the heart was still pumping. It was absolutely intoxicating.
I find it soothing. Those words are the words of Duncan Mackay, not of Sam Delaney.
You can watch it. You can watch slowly. I was patient. And I slowly waited for the light to go out from its wee eyes and the heart, that little pea, to stop pumping. And then I flung it in the bin. Yeah, all right, Duncan. Wait, all right. Tell us after the game, yeah.
And then I masturbate. That's enough, Duncan. That's enough now.
Vigorously, quickly, I complete the job in under a minute, and then I am ready.
Vigorous.
I am ready for my bed.
5 pumps, and I'm done.
They used to call me 5 pump dunk. When I was at school.
At the youth club.
Other people have called me Slam Dunk, which is a basketball reference, but also is a reference to my highly efficient masturbatory technique.
On account of my ability to projectile it up, over and down, as if into a basketball net. Incredible height is achieved.
Some people do this over mucky magazines, such as Escort and Men Only. But
Dave.
for me, only the sight of a dying moose will do the trick. I don't know what it is, Roy. Perhaps it stems back to my childhood. I'm not interested in psychotherapy. What happened in the past happened in the past. Let it stay there. If it impacts on my present, so be it.
Duncan Mackay only looks forwards and sometimes to the side.
Looking back is for the weak and the English.
Roy storms out of the pitch. Blackie says, Roy, I should feel a bit heavy with the kids. This is all very fucking groovy. Heavy. No, Jimmy brought this upon himself, Blackie. He couldn't have made a better job of insulting Bobby Robson if he'd planned it. Fuck. Roy glanced up to where the England manager was returning to his seat. We just see very, very small, tiny Bobby Robson sitting down there up in the director's box. And Roy thinks, I reckon there's only one way to apologise to you, Bobby. Sir Bobby to be. As I'm sure the knighthood you crave will one day come. Even though right now your managership of England is dog shit. Soon after the second half began, and Roy just fucking bollocks his way through a defender. Takes the ball off him. Oomph! Who are we playing again? Is it Tynecastle? I think it is, yeah, Tynecastle. Tynecastle player is waylaid. Great tackle! Roy looks a yard faster! Shouts a fan. Over the page. He's leading from the front like an old-fashioned centre-forward. Which is probably what England need, isn't it? That's what they decided earlier on. And wingers. Creating openings! Spraying passes to either wing!
Yeah, let's see fucking Mark Hateley do this sort of bollocks.
Across from the right. Blackie Gray's going for it, but he's well covered by the Tynecastle defence. And Blackie ducks. Jumps and ducks just at the last minute. Shouts Blackie. I don't know if this is Roy or if this is a fan. I think it's Roy shouting, "That's Roy Racer's ball!" Blackie allowed the ball to soar on, and Roy diving header, heading it away from the direction it's coming from as well, diverting it into the top corner. It's a fucking brilliant goal.
Yeah, you're not really supposed to do that. If it works, it looks great. But generally speaking, you're supposed to head it back the way it came, aren't you?
Yeah, that's pretty impossible to do what he's done. To guide it past the keeper. And the keeper's made no effort to dive in.
Not with my legendary neck muscles.
Yeah. I could rotate my head like an owl. Twice.
And it's not natural. I've had to work on that for years.
Not nice.
I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to work on my head rotation. And I've been doing it since I was a lad. It was my dad who got me started, the cruel cunt. He says to me, son, you will learn to turn your head 360 degrees like an owl. If not, you will be a disappointment to me and the rest of your family. Stop with me. Comes in handy sometimes, but it brings back bad memories.
So he's headed it in. Oh, yes! Shout the fans. Yes! Melchester Rovers 4, brackets Roy Race 2, Tynecastle 0. We're watching something special. It's as if Roy has been saving this for the England manager all these years. Well, I thought Roy didn't give a shit about England. He didn't want to play for England, so, whatever. Roy Race for England! Roy Race for England! And Ben Galloway's there and says, those fans could be shouting for you too, Jimmy. You've really made a mess of things, haven't you? Look, Ben, I tried to explain to Roy, but he wouldn't let me. Explain what? Everyone knows you've been charging around in that new car, asking for trouble. Not this time. I'm still not sure what really happened. Onto the back page. We'll get this done quickly because my headphones are going to go flat quite soon.
Oh, right,
anyway,
okay.
And then we get a little flashback of imagination bubbles, we'll call them. We're back in colour, by the way.
But these ones are in colour, which means they're real.
Well, yeah, they are. But we've had black and white pages again, second and third. Disgusting. Oh, yeah. Jimmy had been given free use of the car as a publicity gimmick arranged by his agent. He says, I set off for the ground in plenty of time. If I was going a little fast, it was because I was excited about the thought of playing in front of Bobby Robson.
I'm fucking excited here. I'm going to put my foot down a bit.
Get there early. Then, just as I was going into a bend at the bottom of Melford Hill, and then we see in front of his car, and Jimmy describes it as he thinks, I don't believe it, a patch of oil. I can't avoid it. And it's a lake of oil. That's what you used to get all the time in the 1980s, wasn't it? Oil on the road.
Yeah.
Big lake of oil.
Always had to look out for it.
Cars were just
Cars
leaking
were
oil
always
left, right and
leaking,
centre.
weren't they?
Yeah. Oil everywhere. That's why there weren't as many cats back then, because they used to just drink the oil. And they were gone. They were done for.
Oh my God. Silly
Horrible.
cats.
But true.
Yeah.
Possibly. Cats weren't fashionable then. Yeah, I hardly knew anybody that had a cat back in the 80s. One person I knew had a cat.
I had
Loads
loads
of people
of
had
cats.
dogs. You had loads of cats.
We had cats and dogs in our house. Yeah,
Oh,
we
might
always
be a
had at
North
least
South
2
thing.
cats on the go.
Right, might have been a southern thing.
We
Anyway, it
rotated them. We rotated them like we used a squad system.
Weirdly, he does indeed crash into that wall that Roy had imagined.
Yeah, and with the
There's not enough
same
made of
fucking
that.
impact as well. He's
Yeah.
obliterated it.
Roy has correctly imagined what happened, but then he goes through the wall. He shouts.
Fucking hell!
Straight into a fucking hedge as well. He says, if it wasn't for that massive hedge, I could have been seriously injured or even killed. But it wasn't my fault, I swear it. If it hadn't been for the oil... Oh, come on. You had to be oil aware back in the 1980s, didn't you? Always be oil aware. Think once, think twice, think oil.
Cats! Watch out for that black water. It's not water at all. It's a fossil fuel called oil. And it is lethal to
It
cats.
will kill. Ben Galloway says, maybe so, but what about your behaviour before the crash? Oh, there's a very long speech bubble coming next. According to Roy, you appeared on a TV show without the club's permission, and you seem to think that being picked for England was only a matter of time. It isn't the kind of thing we expect from responsible professionals. Fuck off, Ben Galloway. What's your authority?
You have no
General
authority
manager.
here, Ben Galloway. No authority whatsoever.
And then he goes on to say, you just better hope that Roy believes your story about the accident. But I don't think he will. Well, I'd say there's quite a bit of evidence to back his story up. All that Jimmy needs to do is take Roy to the scene of the crash. I'm sure somebody whose house it was will be in touch with Melchester, demanding,
some fucking
satisfaction.
Lampard, some curtain twitcher.
Yeah,
Who's always
exactly.
some curtain twitcher who's like, there's oil in that road. Someone's bound to crash in that. I could fucking do something about it, like put up a warning, but instead I'm just going to stand at my
I'll just
fucking
stand and watch.
bedroom window
Yeah.
and wait for it to happen.
It'll probably be some speed merchant like a professional footballer or someone like that.
Do you notice that in that picture of him going into that hedge, which is just beautifully comedic, a car going into a hedge, he's got personalised number plates there.
Yes.
A100 Jim.
Brilliant. Yeah. It's come off the fucking grass as well. He's flying through the air into that hedge.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We'll see if Roy does believe the story. Roy is just grimacing as he's just fucking taking on Tynecastle 1 single-handedly in the final frame, marching towards his hat-trick, possibly a 4th and 5th goal maybe. We'll see. And then it says, that's the end of it, unfortunately. It says, next week, inverted commas, he had to rush, but he left you this note.
That'll be Bobby Robson, won't it?
Bobby Robson and Roy just communicating solely by notes.
Bobby Robson's
his point.
just left a note saying, thanks for nothing, cunt. Wasted journey. All the best, Bobby.
You'll not be seeing me round here again.
Up yours, race, you cunt. And he's drawn a cock and balls. What could that mean?
But there's no spunk coming out of it. That's weird.
He must be trying to tell me something. But what? Find out next week.
Mark's out of 10 for that.
I'm going to give it a 10 because of the 2 excellent renditions of Jimmy Slade's car crash.
Yeah. Yeah. Just briefly on the front cover as well. Where is it? It says, "You could be Robinson's barley water, Roy of the Rovers Footballer of the Week. See inside."
Oh.
And in Roy's message inside, it explains this. "I want all readers to send in the name of a player, professional, semi-professional, or schoolboy in any grade of soccer who you think deserves Footballer of the Week. Readers sending nominations will receive a Super Sports bag and 3 bottles of Robinson's barley water." I'm currently gagging for a glass of Robinson's barley water, by the way.
I didn't used to like it. I'd drink it because you'd see they had brilliant adverts of the ball boys and the ball girls drinking it, right?
Yeah.
And they were great ads, weren't they? They made it seem so delicious.
I want to go play tennis now.
Yeah,
and then I'll drink it afterwards.
But so I'd always want it, particularly around Wimbledon time, round about the end of June, start of July. I'd always be like, "Damn, well, you get some Robinson's barley water." But then I'd drink it, and it would be far too sour. I wouldn't like it.
It's an adult drink, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Get this. The player nominated will get a specially inscribed Royal Dalton Crystal Football. Whoa!
What? Fucking hell. All he wants you to do is send in the name. You could just make out. You just write...
Put your own name down.
John Smith. John Johnson. Send it to Roy Rovers and you get a bottle of fucking barley water and a sports bag.
And a
fucking
crystal football.
Easiest sports bag you've ever won.
Yeah, you've got to nominate the one who wins, though. You don't just get a everyone sends a nomination.
I see.
In.
I thought just nominating it got you a prize.
No. And the footballer gets the crystal football. And then Roy goes on and says, "This is one of the most exciting features the paper has been involved in."
Well, crystal football is a pretty big prize.
It is. I wonder how long that lasted for. Maybe we'll see. All right, thanks for listening, everyone. That's it. And don't forget, if you're IFS Turbo, there will be another instalment of the Races Rocket Odyssey coming along in a day or so, which is very exciting extra content.
About Roy's racing car career, and it is very much pure Roy.
Dreams. It is fucking, absolute pure Roy. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.